Please be advised the Bob and Bob Show and ComplaintBoxes.com is not a news source. Vulgar language and opinionated content may be present at times. You must be 18 years or older to view, listen, or join our network. We are not responsible for any content expressed by users on any of our platforms.
Coming to from the defiance of America.
It's the Bob and Bob Show. Hey, welcome everybody. You are on the Bob and Bob Show.
Yo.
Go to bobandbobshow.com. Check us out there. You can get us on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, a whole bunch of other platforms. So just, Podbean as well.
Podbean's my favorite.
Yep. So we, as always, we have the bearded one.
Yo.
We have Chopperoonie.
Good morning, Bob and Bob. How are you?
Oh, gosh. And we have a guest today. I said he was a doomsday prepper. I wouldn't say he's a doomsday prepper. I think he's more of just a survivalist, taking care of business, trying to protect his family, doing it the right way, gold, silver, all that kind of stuff. His name is Joe Molek. How you doing, Joe?
Hey, what's going on, Bob? I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys?
Doing good.
We're here kicking some booty.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Hello.
Chops, Chops. Apparently, over the past week, you say you saw
A UFO.
a UFO. Come on, really?
Oh, I did.
Well, all right. Explain.
Listen,
Come on.
Dude.
It was a craft that had no wings in the sky. It was in the middle of the day, and it wasn't even too far away from me. I could see that it had no wings, and every now and then it would let out a poof and just go like a poof of smoke.
And no wings.
No wings.
I think you're full of it.
He saw the Goodyear blimp, dude.
No, I did not.
Exactly.
Listen, it was moving way too fast to be the Goodyear blimp, but it wasn't moving like super fast.
Yeah.
It was moving. I'm telling you.
No,
Whatever.
dude.
I don't care if you
No,
don't believe
dude,
me. Don't believe me. I don't care. I've seen it.
Your
I know what
car
I've
was
seen. I know what I've
probably,
seen.
you were driving your car, was full of smoke like Cheech and Chong. You're in there puffing away.
Nope, I was standing out in the
Probably
front
hallucinating
yard.
or something.
I was standing.
Dude, I have my phone. I have my phone in the easiest pocket here to take it out of, and Chops keeps taking it. He thinks he's pickpocketing me.
I am.
Jeez.
That's not what I'm reaching for.
All right, so let's get into a little bit of prepping here real quick. All right, so what are some of the things, Joe, that you would tell a listener or tell somebody, if you thought something was coming? And we're not talking doomsday stuff. We're just talking like survivalist readiness kind of stuff, right?
Why
Yeah,
would somebody
exactly.
be
I mean-
prepared is, I think, what you're asking.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, in today's economy, we've got a lot of stuff going on, and it's better to be safe than sorry. And as far as telling everybody what to be prepared for is, it's just about anything. I mean,
I agree. Anything.
yeah.
I mean, so what would be some things that we would get prepared with? Let's just say the stock market hits bottom and just goes to hell.
Exactly. I mean, you've got the
dollar isn't worth
inverted
anything,
yield curve going on, right now, and once that goes, it's all downhill from there. It's just a snowball effect. So, I mean, you got to protect your assets. You got to protect, your family. You got to make sure you got some food stocks going on.
So do you think marijuana would be a good thing to stock?
It's barterable.
I do.
Well, we know Chops
Whiskey,
does.
That'd be the only
cigarettes.
thing I stocked.
In hard times, people are going to want cigarettes are going to become very valuable.
Yeah.
Whiskey, the ability to
Right.
make alcohol.
Right.
Weed, hey, who doesn't like that?
Yeah,
Right.
Food.
Right.
Food, like seed stocks.
Absolutely, seed stocks. I think that's going to be really, worth its weight.
Yeah. Commodities will become king in an economic collapse. But then, then there's also the idea you were talking about, how the dollar just is what it is, and it's people that put all of their faith into a fiat currency. As long as
A
nothing
manipulated, devalued
and that's
currency.
really the only thing keeping it going right now
Right.
is people's faith.
And as long as nothing catastrophic happens, that's fine. But catastrophes happen all the time; they always have. So you gotta, if you're gonna go for any monetary kind of wealth, you gotta hedge it with something real,
Right.
like metals.
Yeah, silver, gold.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you have to.
Yep.
Well, all right, so we just went over all the good stuff you need to have there in your pantry and in your freaking cigarette box.
You have to
and-
protect that stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
Not everything.
Oh yeah, well
Didn't even
there-
touch the surface.
well we're
of
gonna
what you need.
Yeah, there's tons of stuff. I mean, Do we really need to go all over it? Go Google it.
We don't have enough time. Yeah.
We're gonna dip into Epstein real quick here because I know we had.
You're already moving away from that?
because
That
we've had
was
a big
lightning.
conversation about Epstein, and it's gonna take a while. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like they found what was that girl's name they found at the burger joint? She was reading some book. I forget what it was. What was her name?
Something about the
I don't know about it, dude.
Maxwell. She was reading a book, The Secret Lives of and Deaths of the CIA Operatives.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, this was the woman. I don't know if you remember a few shows ago, I was talking about, you know, Epstein didn't go out and get these girls and start this pedophile ring. He had people out there hunting them down.
Well, it's not a one-man show. They're going to try to paint it like that.
Absolutely, you know, and he wasn't, you know, he didn't put this whole thing together by himself.
There's no way.
You know, I mean, this gets deep.
Oh,
And,
yeah, seriously deep.
You know,
because
he's got a lot of elite names attached to him, and it just goes really deep. And people need to wake up and you know, put both eyes on this whole thing because you know, there's a lot going on, and America needs to wake up.
Well, it's gonna get lost in the media eventually.
Oh, it's already starting to get
It
lost
already
in the
is.
media.
Yeah. The media's job is to bury it as soon as it comes out.
Absolutely.
And how did this come out anyway? I don't even remember.
I mean, they were reporting on it at first, you know,
Right.
and then there's like little factions of people coming out from the prison complex, from different affiliates that were with Epstein, you know, and they're trying to probably cover their butts. So they're going to say a few things. And I don't know, maybe they didn't even know that they were in such trouble by saying this stuff. You know what I mean? But it's out there now.
You would think they would know.
But, you know, nobody's giving up any really names. You know, people are assuming the Clintons, assuming Trump, even though, you know, they were on his private jet and everything
dude,
else.
there's
Yeah, I mean,
there's
he
a
was- he-
lot of stuff that ties
Clinton
them.
said he was on there like 4 times, and they, you know, they got the ledger, and it's like 26.
Dude, there's a painting. Yeah, there's a painting of Bill Clinton wearing a blue dress in Epstein's house, dude.
Is that real? I saw that. I didn't know if that was real.
I don't know
but
if
we
it's
don't
totally
know.
confirmed or not.
Photoshop.
But, I mean, Richard Branson is tied to him. Tony Blair. I mean, it's not. This is
global, man.
Right.
These guys.
Well, do you know
yeah.
who Branson is?
yeah.
He's the guy that made this Virgin Galactic
I know who he
freaking
is, yeah.
launch pad for tours of space. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
he's in the billionaire class.
Yeah, he's in the billionaire
Yeah.
class. Yeah.
This is all billionaire class stuff, and what I think a lot of people in the world don't understand is that $1 billion, even though it's common vernacular today, if you have acquired the kind of wealth that comes with $1 billion, and these people aren't just worth $1 billion, they're worth several to tens of billions of dollars. And when you've reached the point of just having the wealth of $1 billion, you have an immense amount of power to where you've transcended money itself. You are no longer lusting after wealth. You already have it. Your wealth is now power.
right, and you can do anything
And
you want.
You're at God status,
Yeah.
and gods are very, very corruptible. And the idea of it just taking over somebody, well, the type of person that would want that power in the first place is probably going to have some moral issues to begin with.
Well, I
But-
mean, here's the real kicker. It's the fact that these major billionaire class elites, and they're involved with governments and presidents and
Right.
supreme master leaders
Yeah.
and all that stuff. This is what people have to realize. This has infested humanity. This is not something that you need to
It's always been there.
stick your head in the sand over, because these are the people who are controlling your lives.
Well, it's always been there. It changes face from time to time, and the model morphs as ages progress. But this ruling class has always been there, dude.
Yeah, and they've you know, always gotten into things like this. you
Yeah.
know, being pedophiles and
Right.
You know,
Because
and-
that's what I was trying to kind of touching on is if you have the kind of megalomaniacal mindset that would take you at ambitious levels of to where you would achieve billionaire status, and then that's not even like you're insatiable. That's not even enough. It's just a lust. It's not a far leap to think maybe you would want to just have other dominating lusts, like molesting a slave kid.
Well, I mean, they also manipulate government and legislation
Right.
and stuff like that. So, I mean, this is where prepping comes into hand, because eventually they're going to want to depopulize the planet. I mean, I guess
Oh, yeah.
they are doing it in one fashion, but eventually it's going to hit the United States because
It's already
we're too
happening.
unruly,
Yeah,
and I mean, you got to be prepared.
Yeah.
And these crazy billionaires out there, you don't know what they're going to do next.
Right. And
They're doing it through food and pharmaceutical now.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly. You know.
Well, that's a soft kill.
Right.
Yeah,
But
they soft kill you. You know, everything you're eating is poison nowadays. So they say, you know, and you know.
It's hard to get away from that too. It's on every corner, everywhere you go, everything you buy. It's everywhere. It's in everything.
You know, the more I think back, and it's really hard to find good information on this through Google because they bury it, but there is information out there. But the whole fluoride thing, the more I think back on the changes in my mindset over the last 15 years or so, I've been away from fluoridated water, even though there's fluoride in our food and stuff.
Right.
I've been away from fluoride being in my main water supply for a little over 10 years now. And I think back on to when I was still fluoridated, when I was living in Monroe Falls drinking municipal water.
Yeah, you weren't worried about any things you're worried about right
Dude,
now.
I remember sitting in my living room, like stripping down guns that I got at a gun show, like antique stuff that I would get really cheap because I'd buy a bunch of them. You know what I mean? This is back when you could flip them and make money, and I was doing that, you know? I remember stripping these things down and thinking to myself, they're talking about gun grabs again in the media, and I remember thinking to myself, you know, it wouldn't be that big of a deal to only have to not be able to deal with these guns anymore and have to deal with these guns because it's still something I enjoy. But, you know, I was missing the whole point, and I was lying to myself, and I was rationalizing, you know, power grabs away. And
Yeah.
I think fluoride might have had something to do with it, dude, because after I got away from fluoride for a few years, I am exactly the opposite now. You know what I'm saying?
I would like Mexi Melt with no
Poison.
Right.
Well, you're not going to get that.
It's just
Chop.
something I've noticed. I mean, I find myself sitting there pondering, like, my mindset, remembering thoughts that went through my head a decade ago,
Yeah.
and where I'm at now. And I'm telling myself, like, that's when I was young and in shape and aggressive and freaking, you know what I mean? I was running a business and I took no shit and blah, 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 you know, and I... Are we going to censor that or not?
Yeah, no, I get it though. Yeah.
But I was so totally willing to bow to that. And now I'm like... I'm past that stage of life. I'm a 40-year-old guy now, and now I'm like, I can't believe I actually like rationalized away freedom like that because there's absolutely no way that would fly
Well,
with
now,
me now.
you know, many years later, look at it now. Look at all the attacks on our freedoms all the time. I'm not
Oh,
saying that
yeah.
they weren't doing it then too, but I mean, it's just getting more and more intense, and they're blaming everything on guns.
Right.
They're blaming on everything on anything but the problem itself.
Sure.
You know, so you get people like Trump, and you get all these, you know, actors, because that's what they are. They're actors.
Absolutely.
And they're just up there splitting
They're
people
salesmen.
up, pissing everybody off all the time. You know what I mean? It's gotten to a point where you can see, either you see everything now or you're never going to see anything.
There is a great effort expended on keeping people focused on a boogeyman or on a facet of an issue and away from the actual causation.
Yeah, and
in
it's
media
all
and
intentional. So you
politics.
fluoridate everybody, you make them docile. Then you put this media that's just spewing forth a bunch of dog dung.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
They're
it's just,
propagating stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and-
a lot of it's fear.
Right.
You know.
and people buy it. And then you get people like, let's say, LeBron James, for instance, who knows nothing about politics,
Well, that ain't
nothing
nothing
about
new
the
either.
economy, and he's out there bashing presidents and
Sure.
acting like he's using his platform to even further the dumbing down of everybody.
Celebrities have always been doing that, too.
Well, he
but-
gets a little extreme with stuff. You know, he's always running at the mouth. He says he's not going to stop. You know, so all these people who watch sports all the time are going to listen to what he's saying.
Sure.
So it's the same thing. You know, this is now the population themselves are dumbing themselves down.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Dude, it's so much easier to control a population when you just give them the tools, the rope to hang themselves with.
Right.
Yeah, just give them a rope. Go ahead, hang yourself because you're dumb.
And
Or an
instructions
iPod.
to do it.
I know. That's why
Right.
Chops has marks around his neck.
Oh, God.
Hello? Jesus.
And, you know, you got people running around thinking they're seeing aliens. It's probably like some kind of military freaking thing floating around up there using
Telling you.
anti-gravity propulsion and all this stuff. That's what Chop saw.
There's some
I've
stuff
seen
being disclosed about that. We can get into that on some
Yeah,
other show.
there's
though. I don't know.
they already have that stuff on the satellites that they're sending past Mars and stuff. There's some things that they got from the spaceships.
Anti-gravity technology is what I'm
They-
talking about.
Like turbo boosters.
Yes, they look like boosters, but I don't have enough information.
Rocket
to explain
boosters
that.
to
No,
change direction.
They don't have fuel. They take the solar energy and then put it into, I forget how it is.
Oh, geez.
It's like
You mean a
negative
solar-powered
neutron.
electric vehicle?
No, it's not any. Nothing spins. It bursts. It explodes. So whatever.
That'd be like a rocket booster, man.
I'm gonna
With
tell-
like solid fuel in it.
No, there's no fuel. I don't know.
Did they take you
Get
on
off
this
the
ship?
subject, man.
Did they take you on this ship, man?
Jeez.
Because you
Several times.
know,
I got news for you guys. All right, there's no such thing as aliens. All right,
I
there's
thought
no,
you said you were an alien.
Listen, man. What people perceive to be aliens are people traveling back in time, and the way that they're presenting themselves is something that they would understand. Because if you were thinking, okay, this is just people coming back in time, then it's going to blow your mind. But aliens,
I think
is
either
easier to
one is
comprehend.
mind-blowing.
So you're saying actual aliens are just future humans?
Future
It's
humans
possible.
coming back, presenting themselves as aliens.
It's
Listen,
possible.
And the abductions and all that is just them stepping into time, either eliminating certain people, because there's been children taken from Alaska, Nome, Alaska. People get taken up in the rocket ship, then they get abortions done to them and stuff like that. I'm telling you, that's
The
what it is.
rocket ship.
People coming back in time. Yeah, they got a rocket ship. They got time traveling stuff, so they might as well have a rocket ship.
Well, they wouldn't have a rocket ship because that's more of a Earth thing. Wouldn't you think they'd have just
What
a
do you
ship?
Do you think they just
They
get,
probably don't use rocket
you think
propulsion.
they get Star Trek beam me down to the 2019? No, they have a craft that they get in, and it goes back in time, and then boom, there it is. Oh, it's an alien
a
spaceship.
Stargate.
Well, speaking of aliens, we were talking about that Branson or whatever his name is, that billionaire.
Richard Branson.
Yeah, so I think his Virgin Galactic finally reveals a spaceport that has a lounge in it and all this other stuff. Tickets are for next year. You can get them for I think like $200,000.
Sweet.
Oh man,
Did you know that he owns a private island too?
Is there a plus
Uh-oh.
one?
He
Somebody
has
better-
his own island.
Somebody better check that out.
You never know, man.
Well, over 600 people have already paid $64.2 million of deposits for next year's flights to space.
Jeez.
So this guy's a billionaire. This article talks about NASA being involved, obviously, government being involved, and taxpayer money going towards some of this.
Yeah, taxation is something that
So-
can go away.
So they're going to tax, they're going to take our money, they're going to build these things, they're going to send people to outer space, but these people have to pay for it. Also, so it's a double whammy. They get some
Right.
tax money, and they get individual consumers paying
It's
for
a
it.
government subsidized contract.
Yeah, that's awesome. The gateway to space building. This is just ridiculous. We'll never get the ride on this little train. So, but I mean, if you think about it, we should have probably already be beyond this already if it wasn't
Maybe
for,
we are.
Well, I mean, I'm saying like for our crony capitalism and this mass consumption situation. I mean, we talk about DARPA that shows us some stuff. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Well, there's the
but
world.
we know it's way more beyond
Yeah,
that.
it's got to be there. There's the world that we live in, and then there's the world that I don't necessarily know what to call it, but like the ruling elite intelligence community. There, I mean, here's the thing, man. The Pentagon releases statements like losing $3 trillion, which is a larger amount of money than most people can even conceptualize. So the people, since they don't even understand what that is, it just they disclose it and it goes away. Nobody loses that kind of money. That's insane. Nobody loses $1 million. They know exactly where all that
didn't
money
the Pentagon lose like $3 trillion or
That's
something?
what I'm talking about. You know what? They didn't lose $3 trillion. They
Right.
put it into something. Is it a joint task space fleet? Is it a NASA Air Force Navy space fleet that's already on Mars?
Is
What
it
do we
drone
know?
submarines
dude?
with
Right,
nuclear
yeah. It's
missiles
probably
on
all-
it? Yes.
All of the above.
Right.
Drone battleships? Yes.
It could be. We'd
is.
have no
I've already seen
idea
that.
how advanced real capabilities and technology are.
Listen,
by the time
I
we
do.
see it, it's obsolete.
I told
Yeah,
you
you
because
know?
listen, aliens are not space aliens are not aliens. They're time travelers. That's why they have
Human,
Area
human,
51.
advanced
Yes.
human time travelers.
Yes.
Okay.
That doesn't mean they're not
Advanced
aliens
human-
either.
Well, obviously they're alien to this time. I mean, if you want to get technical, yes, they are aliens to this time.
They're extraterrestrial.
They're not from this time.
They're not from
No,
this.
they're not from. They're from this planet, just a different time.
No, their deep ancestors are
Listen.
from this planet.
Yes, I think like 8016 or something like that.
Yeah.
8016.
That's what I
Is
came
that
down to.
BC or
'Cause-
AD or what?
No, this is way in the future. 8016. That's when they're from.
8016.
Yes. Look into it. I'm telling you, that's when they're from.
Oh my gosh! All right, moving ahead here, Chops. You just made me go to sleep,
Dude, I saw a video of that might even be totally fake, but it was interesting to watch. It was like an extraterrestrial looking alien type dude, like a gray type dude.
Yeah.
He had a really, really deep, slow voice, like he wasn't really too like biologically set up for speaking like we do. Like he's from a more advanced state, like telepathy type stuff. You know what I mean? But anyway, this being basically was being interviewed by probably military personnel, and he was basically saying, I'm going to try to explain this in a way that you guys can understand. Like, we're not even on the same plane of existence. It's like I come from a place where time is completely different conceptually, you know? It's like I am basically what you guys are going to become in a million years. You know, it's like I came back to check out, you know, I came back to do some research and stuff like that, checking out what is our ancient past from eons and eons and eons ago. I am not a human being, but I am derived from human beings.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you're
Homo
genetically
sapien
modified later
sapien.
on.
Evolution. It's
Well,
like
yeah,
we were talking
genetics
about.
are being, genetics are being manipulated and figured out. So eventually, I mean, I bet 100 years from now, I mean, we'll have human hybrids all over the place.
He's talking a million years from now. Like
yeah, I'm just
when-
talking about right now. From what we know and factual, how science is progressing right now.
Yeah.
Probably 100 years from now, we'll have like, dogs that are mixed with humans or whatever.
We probably
I hope
already
not,
do,
dude.
man.
Well, China's already doing it. We
Not.
talked about it.
Yeah.
China's already doing monkeys and rats and everything else.
Yep.
So
Growing ears on rats.
yeah, well, they just got embryo that was genetically
pig.
modified. Yeah, it's part. Was that what we were talking about? Was it pig or was it
Pig.
Was it
Part
pig?
pig, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. So I mean, they're
Well,
like, oh, we killed it. We don't, it didn't
A
work out.
pig's
But I
part
bet you they got
yeah,
that
they
thing in
killed
a
it.
tube somewhere.
Right. And
And
it's
they're gonna
giving
see-
them information and telling them how to run the government.
What the hybrids telling
The
them how
hybrid
to
pig.
is going to tell
Dude,
them how to run
yeah.
the government.
Yeah. They're
When
like,
they're
I got this
doing-
all under control. Come here.
A lot of times when they do like forensics and stuff, investigations, experiments and whatnot, they use pig carcasses because pig carcass most closely resembles
Human.
human
Yeah.
composition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and rats, rats and mice, they have a lot of different human qualities about them as well. So that's why they test everything on them all the time.
Is that why?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
That's why they're growing ears and stuff like
Right,
Chops
yeah.
was
off
talking
the
about.
back of the rat.
Yeah,
Well,
that's gross. You ever seen pictures of that?
Yes.
That's craziness. So
lab-grown meat.
So-
I'm good,
that,
dude.
that
what
should
we're-
be the next
I'll
Verizon
just-
spokesman.
I'll
Can
go
you hear
live
me
in the
now?
woods for the rest of my life, man. I'm
so
good
what
on
we're
all
getting
that.
at here is,
Can you hear me now? Did anybody hear that joke?
Uh-uh.
So that's the next Verizon representative. Can you hear me now? That little rat.
oh no, with the ear on it.
Yeah, come on, man.
We were lost on that one.
I think that was
You're a
Sprint.
bunch of dumbasses.
Well, so I guess all right. So to sum things up, what we're talking about here is from Epstein to space travel and all that. What we're looking at here is the fact that these rich billionaire elites, corporate, whatever you want to call them, finance oligarchs, whatever you want to call it, New World Order. These people, they are running the planet first off, and they are conflicting with each other in different regions and all that.
You know what?
But people have to pay attention because these are the people who run your life. You don't even know it, but they run your life.
Yeah, here's a reality that people seem to ignore is that war is a big deal. Wars happen. Wars are incredibly destructive, incredibly expensive, incredibly immoral, and even if it is for a good cause, whatever that may be in your perception. So wars happen. Who starts wars? Politicians start wars. Who controls politicians? Corporations. Who controls corporations? Oligarchs. Okay? You know what I'm saying? So if wars happen and all the nasty things that come with war, I don't know how many people are truly aware of what happens in war, but it's a lot more than raping kids, I can tell you that. And yes, that does happen too.
Whoa.
So here's the thing. If people can agree that wars are started by power players, why would it be such a leap to think that power players have a rape island?
Oh, it's not only that, but why would you think that they don't have a plan? Like, they have a huge plan for every country. They're trying to do things from every level.
Right.
And when you sit here and you...
Oh, no, it's absolutely planned.
And you want to
It's
vote
not-
people in, or you want to support people like AOC's dumbass, or, Trump, or whoever.
Well, she doesn't even know what she's talking about.
Half of these
but-
guys are just, and women, they're just spewing crap out of their mouths to make you think that they're going to do something.
Some of them actually think they are going to do
Well,
something.
they never get into any kind of power. They get pushed aside. Something
Sure.
happens to them eventually along the way. I know a lot of these people get in government because they think they're going to make a change,
That's what most
Yeah.
people do, I think.
but they end
Yeah.
up, they got to take a bribe, or they're going to get pushed around, and they're not going to be able to do what they want to do.
Sure.
Because there's people way up the food chain that are taking care of business, not you.
And the whole
not your
party-
congressman, not your president, none of them.
Right. The party thing is peer pressure driven too. It keeps individual politicians from being able to make a difference because they get blackballed by the party if you don't toe the line, man.
Right.
You know.
Well, could you imagine when you become president too?
Yeah.
Like did Trump go into office thinking that he was going to make this crazy change towards freedom and prosperity
I don't
for
think
all?
he gives a crap about any of that.
I don't think he does
just
either.
tells people whatever they want to hear so he can get elected. I mean, that's,
Well, what happens?
I think he was just doing it to prove a point. Like, hey, I can become president. Watch.
yeah, right.
You know what I
well,
mean?
yeah, I
so,
think you're
too.
right about
What's
that.
up, Oprah? Watch me. You know what I mean? I'm about to become. I'm not fired. Everybody else in the whole
That's-
United States is fired.
That's the perfect kind of guy to put in the monkey suit too and put behind the
Right.
Oh
podium.
yeah, get everybody
Yeah.
all ticked off. You
Right.
know, that was perfect.
And
With
he
his
control him.
$14,000 tie.
Control him very easily because he's shallow and egotistical, and as long as he gets the crown, he doesn't care, man.
Well, what happens
It's
to
really easy to control a guy like that.
what happens to a president that would go against the New World Order or the oligarch or whatever
well,
we call it?
what has happened to presidents?
Right,
Exactly. Yeah, you
exactly.
get silenced.
Yeah.
You get JFK'd.
Right.
So why isn't Trump having any? People hate him so much, apparently, on the left, and there's been no assassination attempts. There's been nothing.
Right.
Like Obama, nothing.
Well, they're trying.
I mean,
trying
maybe
to
there was like
impeach
little
him.
mediocre stuff or
They're
whatever.
trying
Yeah,
to
they tried to
impeach
impeach
Trump.
him, yeah.
They tried to.
They're still trying.
That-
Well, here's the thing you have to understand is that the theys are different too. Like the theys that are going to try to impeach a president are not the theys that are pulling the strings.
Right.
Those are just statesmen
Yeah.
at a lower level.
Those are just
Exactly.
a
Those are
loudmouth.
the names that are allowed to get out.
Right. And they might not even really understand how all this works, even though some plebs like us can. But that doesn't mean that these people in power do actually know what's going on because they're not all in the same compartment.
Well, right. They
You
fight
know?
amongst themselves as
Sure.
well. I mean, there's power struggles, all the time. I mean, even
Yep.
with Epstein, this guy, he was silenced.
Oh,
yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
I don't think anybody
I mean-
disagrees with that statement.
No, I mean,
Shoo.
You'll never talk again.
He got a little.
he had the
note
nitty gritty
underneath
on
his
everybody,
Nutriloaf.
and they were not about to let him spill the beans.
Yeah.
Right.
And he ends up in a cell with a couple of guards that are just the scapegoats and say, we were sleeping, we were tired, or
Right, yeah.
whatever they want to
They
say.
got
We were
Plato
at
Plomo. They were like, you can take this $300,000 and let us kill this guy, or we'll just kill you too.
Right. Yeah.
It won't happen today. It'll happen in a couple of years, but it'll happen.
You'll know it's
Yeah.
You
coming.
know?
And they didn't even have any cameras on this guy.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. I mean, they had to have had at least some cameras in the hallway
Something had to
to
be
be
there.
able to, okay, yeah,
Listen-
let's see who's coming and going.
Even
Oh, I think they
Summit
said-
County Jail has a camera in
I
every
think
corner.
I think they
Dude.
said I think they said there was cameras in hallways. So
Dude, they
Okay,
listen.
so look at the footage.
well, we're not going to get
What
to see
footage?
that.
At least that'll tell
What
you if
footage?
it was an actual suicide,
right.
or if there was other players involved.
Again, the master plan, they were probably at his island talking about, well, we're going to go invade this country. We're going to do a regime change here. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Just
Right.
like the
Past the
Bilderberg meetings or
12-year-old.
I
whatever.
think that's probably casual talk. Where the real planning goes down, the official stuff is at the Bilderbergers and the Trilaterals. That's where they're wearing their suit and ties and figuring out what they're going to do. But
Yeah, well, see, I got on the halfway point coming up here. We got David Icke talking about. He had an interview in the UK. He's talking about this. There's a document in 2000. So here we go, everybody. Listen, bobandbobshow.com. We'll see you on the other side.
In September 2000, an organization in America called the Project for the New American Century published a document calling for the American government to, quote, fight and decisively win multiple theater wars to bring about a series of regime changes. And it named the countries that they wanted to regime change: Iraq, Libya, Syria, Lebanon, Iran, North Korea, China. The people who published that document included Donald Rumsfeld, Paul Wolfowitz, Dick Cheney, Dov Zakheim, who would control the entirety of the Pentagon budget in that same period. In that document, they said that this process of transformation, all these regime changes, would necessarily be slow. This is the quote, absent some catastrophic and catalyzing event like a new Pearl Harbor. 1 year to the month after that document was published, 9 months after the people that wrote it came to power in the Bush administration, the United States had, in September 2001, what Bush called at the time the Pearl Harbor of the 21st century. As a result of that, this process of regime change was triggered by the so-called war on terror justified by 9/11. This is where I'm going in terms of the politicians and Trump. First man in, officially, George W. Bush. They went into Afghanistan. Then, with Tony Blair lying about weapons of mass destruction, they went into Iraq. Let us not forget that the very same people, not the same agencies, the same governments, the same personalities that told us there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq when they knew they weren't, were the same people that gave us the official story of 9/11. Then they go into Libya, also on the list. But now Bush is gone, Blair's gone. Now it's Barack Obama. He's a Democrat, not a Republican. And it's David Cameron. He's a conservative. But now they're going into another one on the list. And then into Syria. Again, creating mayhem and catastrophe. Then we come to Trump. And Trump is now, yes, he's supposed to be a Republican, but he's the anti-establishment man. He's a maverick who was going to drain the swamp and handed the American economy to Goldman Sachs from day one. Who is he demonizing now? He's demonizing Iran and he's demonizing North Korea, other people on the list, other countries on the list. So this list from September 2000 has been ticked off all the way through these different politicians and different parties and different personalities. So no matter who's coming and going or who you're going to vote for, it's like some Americans say, it don't matter who you vote for, the government still gets in. Yes, the secret government.
All right, we're back. Bob and Bob's show. That was David Icke.
Barack Obama.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was talking about, though. It's these personalities. They're just personalities, man. They're not. You think it's your president, and you say, "Not my president," or that bum, like LeBron James always says. All that. All you people out there that are buying this stuff. This is identity politics. Their personalities. The real people are these people like Epstein and everybody. Those are the people controlling stuff.
I need to clarify something real quick. Sort of. It's compartmentalized. It's not like Congress doesn't really have power. It's not like the president doesn't really have power. It's not like the Supreme Court doesn't. They all have all the power that's vested in them. They do actually have.
But they don't use it correctly.
Right. It's corrupted, but there's people in there that really are anti-establishment, and they're trying to use that power correctly and all that. But what people need to understand is that it's compartmentalized. It's like, the legislators, the courts, the president, they're kind of like middle management. There is an executive level above the entire government, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah, the secret government.
You're talking what they call deep state or the
state.
intelligence state. What we're talking about is the ruling class, and there are sects in them too. Because Bill Gates is not Lord Rothschild. Not even close.
Deep State 6-9.
The Queen kisses Rothschild's ring, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there is a compartmentalized structure that is an umbrella or a tree if you flip it upside down. Either way, it's the same thing. But the power structures under them do have real power. The manager of a store does have power, but he's not a corporate executive.
Well, this is why you get
Yeah.
things like Epstein, like all this weird stuff happening that just doesn't make any sense.
Sure.
Like him killing himself and all these people, like this lawyer that went in there that wasn't a lawyer or something. And
Right.
I
That
mean,
makes perfect sense, though.
well,
we knew this was
It
coming.
makes sense from that perspective of knowing that these shady dealings happen.
Well, this one article I read is like he couldn't be alone, so he would have his attorneys just sit with him for 8 hours a day or whatever, like, and they'd alternate, and everybody would come in every day, and they'd just sit there and talk with him all the time, not even about the case. So who were these people? Were they really lawyers, or what were they? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Who was watching? Did he know? I mean, was he something that he was just?
Who is Epstein?
Well, did he get just thrown to the wolves to cover something up or something?
Maybe.
I mean.
Well, I think if you go back to even of what Acosta said, Acosta said before he stepped down, he says he was above, back when Epstein got first arrested. I think it was back in 2008, and he said well, we cut this deal because I was told that he was intelligence, and he was above my pay grade,
Right.
and
So nothing ever happened.
Well, no, it's not that something didn't happen. I mean, he supposedly did, jail time, but the jail time for this guy was he gets work release for, 12 hours a day. He never really sees a jail cell,
Yeah, he just comes in, goes to sleep, and leaves again.
Yeah,
It's like Escobar.
right.
Like a
So
DUI.
if he's tied to intelligence, whether that's foreign intelligence or domestic intelligence, this guy, he was definitely
top echelons.
He's protected.
yeah,
He's
Money.
protected.
He was
Yeah.
pretend.
definitely protected.
Like,
You
we got to
know?
put on
I
a
mean,
show,
y-
so let's let him go to jail, but it's only going to be overnight.
Yeah, like you said, you can't figure out how he made his money.
Yeah, no, you can't figure out how this guy made his money. I mean, like I said, he was involved with Bear Stearns, and then he started his own company. But you look at all of it, and he only has one client that was ever.
Well, who was that
that's on
client?
The government.
What was his name? Lex Leslie,
Luthor.
No, Leslie Wexler.
Leslie,
I don't know.
Never even heard of him.
Yeah,
He
no.
must
I don't
be
know
elite,
much about
elite.
Epstein at all.
Yeah,
man.
and this guy, like I said, America needs to wake up to these elites like this because they got this pedophile ring. I mean, he's got his own island.
Right.
I know, that's crazy.
He's got a temple basically built on this thing. I mean, what are you doing out here
Right.
in the middle of an island? And
Yeah.
you got this like temple looking thing built, and
There's
hey,
photos of the island. I haven't seen them.
No, I don't have photos of the island, but I'm just looking at some of these inconsistencies. Like Epstein said he was considering cooperating in naming names in his international sex ring.
Of course.
and that's exactly what it was.
and
That's
listen to
what,
some of these. He was found unconscious in his prison cell 3 weeks earlier before he died. 2 days prior to his death, documents released for the first time implicating several top Democrats in his ring.
Right.
And I don't know where those documents came from.
What we have going on here is kind of the dynamic of the compartmentalization I was talking about. It's like alphabet soups in the U.S. within the government even fight against each other because some of the people in these agencies are part of a different compartment. And what happens when the rest of the agency is going along with the mission that is sold to everybody else, that most of the agents truly believe they're fulfilling? And what you get is things like the CIA running drugs into America and the DEA trying to bust them.
Yeah.
And it's all at our expense, at the taxpayers'
Yeah.
expense.
Yeah.
So it's a similar kind of thing what you're talking about here with Epstein. He has people that are really after him, trying to prosecute him, and him brokering deals with them maybe to try to save himself, where he's caught in this vice between what he really knows is going on and then the rest of the general public. It's
Well, then
pretty
you have
crazy,
the people
man.
that are like on the that were involved in the sex ring, and they're worried about getting exposed.
Right.
And they're in government, and they're in different corporations. They're probably all over the world. So
It's
they'll-
so convoluted.
yeah. So
Yeah,
if that
yeah.
was ever
I mean-
proved, so now they're after him. They want to kill him. So
yeah. And obviously this was big business.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
You
huge.
know, big business, and it's just disgusting, really.
So here's some more of the inconsistencies. It's like he was taken off suicide watch after a failed attempt just 2 weeks earlier. He was in isolation which that's unusual for a suicide person because they got eyes on them because they're going to commit suicide.
yeah.
So you don't put them in solitary confinement. I mean,
Right.
come on. Cameras malfunctioned.
Yeah, sure they did.
Yeah.
Sure they did.
Of course they did.
I mean, even Mexico had a video of El Chapo's escape from prison. You know
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
So, let's
This
see.
is a classic case of roaches stomping on roaches.
Right.
Yeah.
And if it was
one way to put it.
isolation,
Yeah.
if it was
Yeah.
isolation,
They
there
had-
was a camera in the cell.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden later, the cameras magically start working, and it shows the guards that they just didn't do their rounds.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
now they just magically start working.
Yeah, the guards
yeah.
just decided not to do their rounds with such a high profile
Yeah.
case. Yeah,
That's the
right.
only
I think they
time
said
they
that they
didn't
were
do the round.
sleeping.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And the week before his death, the guards they worked all these doubles and stuff, and they were really tired and all.
Dude,
you
I
know.
work freaking doubles every day, and I don't fall asleep when
One of the guards
I'm
wasn't
doing my
even
job.
certified to be a guard. I don't know
Sure.
if you knew. I mean, this is crazy.
That would definitely be the guy to put in charge of Epstein. Then
He was
Right.
a temp.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, they forgot to check on him. There's another one. Like, yo, so you're a prison guard. You one of your highest profile cases that are in there right now, and you forget to check on them.
this
You,
this
you
goes.
think they would have doubled everything on that? You know what I
They
mean?
did.
And they should have, but they
Right.
didn't. And they're.
Oh,
this
so
is what happens.
some of the guards slept through their shift. Okay, sure. I don't believe that either.
I don't believe none of it. Just come out and say, hey, look.
They didn't check
we
on him
whacked
for
him.
several
That's it.
hours.
Exactly.
You know,
It'll
they
come out.
whacked
Say
him, and
that.
that was it.
Because we'd be like, cool.
Listen, this one. There's
He
Right.
was a dirtbag.
in 150 years, it'll come out.
somebody reports. There are reports of
maybe.
somebody screaming. There's reports of somebody screaming the morning that he died.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder who that was.
So this facility hasn't seen a successful suicide in over 40 years. That's crazy, man.
They can't
Right.
claim that anymore. Well, it
No.
wasn't a successful suicide, was it?
We have
Yeah.
gone this many days without any accidents.
Okay.
That's
Right.
ruined.
3 weeks prior, Epstein said he was a victim of attempted murder.
You know what, man? They can
Right.
still.
That was
I don't know where all
that's
this is
just-
coming from, man.
That's
But
just
For
his
sure.
cry, man. You know, I mean, this guy, he's used to a certain lifestyle.
Sure.
You know, you put him in a jail cell, man, and he's just like,
That's attempted
please
murder.
let me out.
To him.
Yeah.
You
All
know.
that power.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, choke himself out. You know, hey, I told you this place was unsafe.
Right.
Take me
Yeah.
somewhere else.
his former roommate was facing mass murder charges.
Of
What?
course.
Why would you put that guy in there?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
heard about that.
what
too.
the heck?
Wow.
Apparently, he had a lot of dirt
Wow.
on numerous globalists. You know,
Absolutely.
And that's
we were
what
already
it-
talking about that.
Yep.
Joe, you were talking about he was not given paper sheets.
Oh, is that what it says?
Yeah,
He was
it's a-
not given paper sheets.
Yeah. So.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
What
yeah.
was he given? Regular cloth sheets?
Probably.
Polyester?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, they got to switch that up. 'Cause you know, it's more probable that he actually,
Right.
you know,
Nylon
had
sheets.
something there.
Yeah,
To,
they're actually saying he did have normal sheets in there.
Oh,
You have to remember
Yeah,
that
and
the budget to fund this cover up is bottomless.
Oh,
I mean, the
geez.
scale
Oh,
of
yeah.
economy, and most people, Epstein alone was worth what, like $6.5 billion or something. And
I'm not sure what he was worth.
a 1 billion is 1,000 million. Like if you, I've said this before on the show, but again, like if you break down the scale of economy that comes with that kind of wealth, it's not even about money. It's about power. You're not,
Yeah.
your money is not even, you don't even think of it as spending money anymore. You think of it as using your influence to get what you want done. Because when you can offer somebody more money than they're likely to make in their entire life of working, when you can offer them a fortune beyond that to just keep their mouth shut about something, they're going to do it.
9 out of 10 of them are going to do it, right?
And it's nothing to you. It's literally like a normal person with a regular like middle class American income. It would be like paying somebody $20 to never speak about something that may get you in trouble.
Yeah.
It's worth $20. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
right.
It's like it's nothing to them, man.
Which might have been what this, you know, this warden even got, you know.
They could have given
They
him
just
several
reassigned
million.
him.
Yeah.
You
They
know, they
got-
just reassigned him, and, you know, it's like, no, this guy.
Medical professionals that interviewed him said he was not suicidal.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know.
He told his lawyers on that Friday, day before his death, "See you on Sunday."
See you on Sunday.
His former roommate heard nothing. Reportedly, he had to get on his knees to hang himself from his bed.
Yeah, yep.
Huh.
He had a roommate and still hung himself?
Well,
No,
that guy got
he didn't,
transferred.
He didn't have a.
Oh.
He had
So-
a roommate in the other. In the
other
other
jail?
yeah.
The autopsy showed that he had broken bones in his neck, common with strangulation deaths.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, jeez, what is this? A full breakdown of the prison complex
It's like-
system
Yeah.
all at
Somebody
once?
put them in a headlock real quick.
Or they
Choke
just
them out,
or
that's
they
it.
slung him over their they slung him over the shoulder with a garrote, and he just hung there kicking until he stopped moving, and they let him go, man. You know
Somebody
what I
had to
mean?
let him in. Somebody had to cover it up. Somebody had to make the video malfunction. Somebody had. I mean, there's way too many problems with this situation
Oh, yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my money's on the guy
absolutely.
who didn't have training to be a guard. And that's him. Right
Well,
there.
that's what they want you
That's
to
a
know.
CIA
Yeah,
or
right.
DEA
And that's-
agent or something.
Like I said, those are the scapegoats. Those are the here's our excuse.
He's some kind of agent. You'll never hear about that guy ever again.
Well, this just shows how dark the forces are behind all this stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
if they're going to do this with Epstein, they've probably done it with so many others.
Oh,
and
Oh,
they-
dude.
I mean, these are the people who rule our country and other countries. They
Dude,
rule.
They
And-
could get rid of hundreds of people, and none of it would ever trace back to them, man. That's the kind of power they have, dude.
Well, they got to keep us ants at bay. We got to keep us busy, worker bees, worker ants. They got to keep us not looking at what was really happening.
Sure.
They're doing things against humanity with the creation of other hybrids or whatever, our food with all the GMO. This stuff is not right anymore. Like, people are waking up. I can see it everywhere now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And-
really hope they are. I mean, because we have to.
There's no
we have to.
choice.
If we're going to stop stuff like this where they're, touching on kids, I mean, these are our children.
As ridiculous as social media is, it's been a massive catalyst for a couple of things. One is brainwashing, and the other is awakening. And there's a big push-pull, man, in it
Yeah.
right now. Like,
Well, you
it's,
get all these mass shootings that just happened, and now they're going to start pushing legislation through to restrict the Second Amendment, and also all these social media platforms are going to be all in on it. They're going to be doing mass surveillance using keywords. You say
you're
gun.
talking about thought
Showing
crimes.
every
You're talking
video,
about
every video of every shooting ever. It'll be on Facebook.
what they're
I
gonna
mean?
what they're gonna do is move into the realm of implementing thought crime being accepted by the population in the name of disarming. It's crazy. Like the whole Bill of Rights, all the negative rights, the natural rights, they all tie in together.
Yeah.
And they can be used against each other too.
Yeah.
Just like they can be used to hold each other up, they can be used to tear each other down, man.
Yeah, well,
And that's what they're doing.
every
Yeah,
problem,
absolutely.
It's
every
crazy.
problem has to be used to an advantage. So if you have a bunch of rebel style patriot Americans, and you still have them
Put fluoride in their water.
Well, yeah, you can do the soft kill, but you can also do the manipulation, and you can also do the mass surveillance. I mean, the Patriot Act got us in the door,
Sure.
got them in the door
Yeah.
to be able to do their mass surveillance, all in the name of terror.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now they're going to take the gun violence, and they're going to capitalize on that, and they'll be able to pinpoint everybody and
So-
know exactly who's going to be a rebel and who's going to be a patriot, who's going to stand up for their rights and who's not.
There's a lot of things with these shooters, though, that there's commonalities in them that I want to understand better. It's always like some like dorky white dude
Some lone wolf.
under 22 years old. You know what I mean? Like, what's the deal? Like, I wanna know why it's always that same profile. As far as these just like wind up doll type mass shootings are concerned.
Dude, I'll tell you what, it does vary because apparently that Dayton shooter was on cocaine. They found cocaine on him. He was on antidepressants and a
But
bunch
he
of
was
other
like
stuff.
a 20-year-old. He was like a 20-year-old dorky white kid, though. That's what I'm saying. It's always that same dude.
Was that?
You
Was,
know?
he, was he a
Like,
dorky
it
white
is.
kid in
Yeah.
Dayton?
Yeah.
The other one.
They all
was-
even look the same.
other one-
You
man.
can't say that, dude. That's
Texas was
racist.
dorky too.
Right.
You can't say dorky white kid. Actually, it's okay to bash whites,
Well,
right?
they're gonna say that they're all racist too. It's always the same narrative, man.
Well, I think they were trying to make it look like he was a Trump supporter or something. Did you see
A
that?
white supremacist. That's the one in El Paso.
Is that
yeah,
the
they said he was a white
or
supremacist.
a white nationalist or
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
like that?
Well, then they busted another neo-Nazi the following Monday, and they're just trying to tie it into hate groups.
These could be
Yeah,
wind-up
they do.
dolls, though, man. I mean, and
They
a lot of
are.
people are gonna poo-poo it like nobody could ever do that. And there's always naysayers that have no idea what they're talking about all the time. And it's not like I have any proof to back anything up, but I have a lot of circumstantial historical reality that backs up any theory I throw out
well, I know
there.
we talked
mean,
about wind-up dolls. What was a wind-up doll?
like a victim of brainwashing, which could take. It's not like they just take you into a room and zap your brain with some electricity and all of a sudden you're some Manchurian candidate. It doesn't work like that. It's something that takes a lot of time. It's
Yeah,
a long-term
a lot of
hypnosis.
antidepressants and
It happens through drugs and stimulation, man. And it's not the realm of fantasy. Clockwork Orange is a real thing, man. It's called MK Ultra. It's not classified anymore. I mean, presidents have publicly apologized for it. Governments do this kind of stuff. Who's to say that these aren't actual wind-up dolls? You know?
Yeah, they just set them on fire and let them, or they wind them up, pull the string, and let them go.
Yeah, they don't know exact. It's not like they're like, okay, at the count of 2, you're going to go in and do this. It's not like you have an earpiece in your ear. They scramble your freaking brains, give you the tools and access to do what you're going to do, and set you free. Let's see what's going to happen. We know it's going to be a catastrophe. We know it's going to be totally crazy. We know it's going to be controversial. And we know what the fallout's going to be, and that is the agenda. They don't really care exactly what happens. They know something's going to happen that they can capitalize on.
Yeah, so he'll go out and he'll just get pissed off. They'll keep feeding him this information about whether it's a Democrat or a Republican or whatever. Get them all fired up. Get them all coked up. They have
to destabilize the guy. It's like when you attack a nation with an agenda, of taking their resources or whatever conquest it may be. You have to destabilize the place. It's the same thing if you're going to take over an individual to get him to do something. You have to destabilize him. It's no different than going to boot camp, except in boot camp they do it very quickly and methodically.
You know they have
them.
zombie powder,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
You know what zombie powder is, right? It's powder that people can put in the air and it can control
Ketamine?
your mind. No, it's called zombie powder. The
What's it
cartel
made
uses it for drug mules. They put it up in the air, and somebody breathes it in or eats it, and then they can just control them like a zombie, like a robot.
I need to know
it's
more
called
about
the
that.
Devil's breath.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, I've
It's
never heard of
bad.
that.
Oh, wow, you guys got something for us we ain't never heard of.
Yeah, it controls your mind. Yeah, they can control you, make you do anything you want. You don't
Dude,
remember none of it.
That brings a whole new meaning to, what was Dale's last name? Dale Tribble on The King of the Hill. It's like, you talk a lot of smack for somebody in pocket sand distance.
Oh, you can throw pockets in.
Yeah,
It brings a whole new meaning to that,
Yep.
though. I mean,
That's crazy.
yeah, that stuff's crazy. Look into that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what do we do about everything? I mean, obviously.
what do we do?
Yeah, I mean, what
We
what
podcast about it.
What do the people do though? What do the people do?
The people rise up together, because if we do it one by one, it's just going to take us down one by one.
Right.
Yeah, you got to have
Awareness.
You got to have plans. You got to have a lot of people under your squad there. You got to form unions with everybody. Stop fighting, I guess.
Yeah.
But people are buying into the identity politics all the time.
Almost
so.
everything that
Well, yeah.
people fight about is propagated by mass media, and I want to say that it's usually naive young kids that suck it up, and it is, but man, I see a lot of boomers just drink it like Kool-Aid too, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they drink the Joe Biden Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to watch politics because you got to see what lies you're being fed.
Yeah,
But,
we also didn't get here by, in just 10 years. This has been ongoing for hundreds of years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's going to take a while to pull ourselves back out of it.
It's a constant push-pull,
Yeah.
Well, we talk about trying to wake people up.
Liberty
some
versus
of the,
tyranny.
Some of the things that might happen in their lives that wake them up. Maybe it's like you lose your house,
Right.
and you lose your job, and then you hit rock bottom. Then you start asking yourself, why?
A catalyzer stops your rat wheel or kicks you off of it, and it gives you an opportunity to wake up, so to speak. Like if the rat wheel that you've been running on since kindergarten, and you never decided to look up
Yeah.
or step off of it, something can happen that stops the wheel or kicks you off of it, and all of a sudden you're forced to look at a bigger picture around you and be like, holy crap, I've been in this freaking tightly wound matrix my entire life, and I didn't even realize that I'm completely programmed. And you know how insane that's going to sound to people that are on the wheel?
That reminds me. Listen, they are, the guy who invented Tesla. What's his name?
Tesla.
No, Elon Musk.
Yeah,
Elon Musk.
Elon, whatever his name is, dude. He is funding a project to
nuke Mars.
No, to have chemicals put in your brain.
Yeah.
and break it down so you would be a half computer, half human.
He's working on a neural lace.
Yeah,
That's
a
what he's
neural
working
lace.
on.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and he
He
basically it's the it's you know,
It looks like the Matrix.
they can't get the information there.
Plugged in.
That's what he's working on. They can't get the information there fast enough, and that's what he's trying to fix that problem there.
Yes.
And as soon as he figures it out, and he'll figure it out.
Yeah.
The problem
He's got
is
endless
there's
resources.
a problem.
Oh,
They've
endless
already figured out there's
resources,
a problem.
and he's all over the place warning everybody.
Yeah.
You know, he's it's
Wasn't he getting high on Joe Rogan's show or something? He's
Oh yeah.
yeah.
He did.
Oh yeah.
Who can mess with Elon Musk though, dude? It's
Nobody.
like, you know, when you've got somebody like, because he is a billionaire, he is in that class, that big, crazy, powerful class, and just because somebody does have that kind of money doesn't necessarily mean they play along with the rest of them. But we don't know anything. But here's the thing. When you are, I don't know the word, a renegade, a rebel. When you are the type of renegade that
anti-establishment style person.
that Musk actually is, and you gain that kind of class and status that he's in, that's when you can sit on a podcast and light a joint and puff it in front of a camera in a nation where it's illegal,
Right.
and completely get away with it, and basically snub his middle finger up at the establishment. Well, he's living that way.
Snoop Dogg does that all the time.
But sure he does. But Elon Musk is much, much more powerful than Snoop Dogg, man.
Right.
Yeah, you
Well,
expect
then
that
he needs
from
to pull
Snoop.
something more powerful, like smoke crack on TV or
I
something.
do-
You know
Dude,
what I mean?
could you imagine having like you could put a hard drive in your brain and you can store
That's what he's
store
working
it and
on right now.
recall? That would be so
Yeah.
great.
I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah,
but
I want nothing to do with
That's
it.
Dude, I
it's
wanna
where
have that data,
transhumanism
man.
comes
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
it gets dangerous, man.
I'm for it. I want to merge with robots, man. I
No,
want to.
good luck.
you want, so you gotta, you know what, you are an HR Giger kind of guy,
Right.
man.
I wish I would get a hold of your controller. I'd be walking you around everywhere doing dumb
No,
stuff.
no controller. I'm just
Oh,
saying I got a little
yes.
hard drive I can just pop in and out and swap out.
Yeah,
and,
that doesn't work.
My eyes pick up all the data and I read stuff and it
You
just goes
know-
right in there and I can recall it in seconds. Like
Do you
Google.
know who HR
Right.
Giger is?
No, I don't.
He's a Swiss artist that oh man, if you saw he was way ahead of his time. If you saw some of the stuff some of his art, you'll recognize it right away. It's the kind of stuff you're into. It's like that industrial, like biomechanical, like art kind of stuff that you might see on like a Nine Inch Nails video.
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
and he's got that one where
or
it's
like
the
a tool,
face and the
like
robot.
Tool.
Yeah.
Their type, like
Yeah,
Alien.
cities that look like the Venus Project
Put the
Yes.
and
SD
all that
card
kind of
in
stuff.
his forehead.
But
Alien.
artsy-fartsy.
Alien with Sigourney Weaver. You remember that?
Yeah.
That was his concept. He invented that creature.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like the whole creature thing or whatever, but, you know, the evolution
The
of man.
transhumanistic art is what he created, but he created this stuff like 50 years ago, dude.
Well, think about
You
how
know.
freaking stupid we were 200 years ago. Think about how stupid we were 500 years ago. You know, it's evolution of man. We have to merge with robots, dude. It's gonna happen. Maybe
Yeah,
not in
no.
our lifetime.
Transhumanism is a thing. It's just very, very primitive right now.
Yeah.
They already
You
have
know.
arms and legs and everything else that work off your nervous system.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the
So-
beginning of transhumanism is when the phonograph and the telephone were invented.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
you know,
that's
it's
way
not going to
better.
be a good thing when we have these oligarchs
Maybe
that
the
run
telegraph.
everything. You know, they're going to be able to control you personally. Oh,
Right.
get the
Well, they do.
get the new hard drive for your brain, you know,
Right.
and get this and get that, and you're going to be hooked up to a Wi-Fi grid or something crap, you know.
Did-
and if you step out of line, boom, you're done.
Did
Just like
you-
the mark of the beast, they turn your finances off and everything.
Yeah.
Did you know that the
Facebook.
the exact same fluoride compound that is put in water supplies
Yeah.
is 70% of what Prozac is?
Yeah.
Prozac is 70% fluoride salts, the same hydroxylic acid. I think they call it fluoridyl hydroxylic acid, I think, or something like that.
Hexafluorosilicate.
Yeah, that's it. You got it, dude.
Big
That's
word.
that's the bad fluoride. It's the kind that does not occur in nature, and it's the kind that
It's a
calcifies.
byproduct of industrial waste.
Sure, it's the kind that so conveniently makes everybody into docile cattle, pretty much.
Yeah.
And that, you know, it has nothing to do with tooth health. There's a lot of information out there on this, but the that is what Prozac is made of.
I just
Why
try
do
to-
people take
I look-
Prozac?
Crazy.
Right.
all these advancements and all this stuff, the problem is in the end we're going to be super controlled because we just don't have a free world, a free society, really. I mean, ours is masked in illusion.
Right.
We think we're free, but we're not.
Oh, we're not even close.
and you know, when all this stuff, this transhumanism and all this stuff comes into play, I mean, it's not going to be a free help humanity thing. It's going to be a control humanity
Sure, because
thing.
it's not free now. Why would it just become free out of nowhere?
Right.
It
Well,
won't.
that's the end of the show, guys. Visit bobandbobshow.com. Make sure to download the show because,
Download.
push and play is one thing, but
Download.
downloading is another.
Download.
Download.
More next week. We never get it all in, man. Never.
Obama out.